Well, hey there guys, my name is Ed and I like the Game Boy, but I also like Marvel comics. So today we're gonna take a look to all the Game Boy games that came out by Marvel. So Game Boy games that had Iron Man in it, Spider-Man, all that good stuff. First up, let's take a look at Captain America and the Avengers on the classic Game Boy. As you can see, this game is a side-scrolling beat-em-up shooter, and the aim is to defeat the Red Skull at the end. He is the end boss. Now, you get to choose out of 4 characters when you want to play this beat-em-up game. You get to choose out of Captain America, Iron Man, Hawkeye, and the Vision, beating up the enemies that you encounter. Now, this game was released in 1994 by Data East and was developed by Real Time Associates. This is the most expensive game on the list that I'm gonna go over here, and this game goes for around $40 to $45 if you want to get a loose cartridge. Next up is the first of multiple Spider-Man games that came out on the Game Boy. First Spider-Man game on the list, and one of many because there's a lot of Spider-Man games on the Game Boy. Now, these all come with the same logo on the front of the box. Unfortunately, that is the rainbow logo, LJN Games. LJN Games don't have a good track record, but you know, there's some diamonds in the rough, so let's check it out if there's any good ones in here. First up, The Amazing Spider-Man. This game was, like I said, published by LJN, however, it was developed by Rare, a company that would go on to make great games on the N64 and then later be bought up by Microsoft, locking the games and the franchises forever to the Xbox. So The Amazing Spider-Man is just a platform scroller. You beat up enemies. It's not too difficult. There's some cool cutscenes in there where the enemies kind of taunt you to keep on going and defeating the game so you can rescue your girlfriend. So this game was from 1990 and it was followed by 2 sequels, which we're gonna get into right now. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, also a $5 game like the previous one. Is, well, it's not as good as the first one to me, at least. Yeah, I really didn't like this one. So yeah, what's wrong with The Amazing Spider-Man 2? Now, this was also published by LJN, however, it wasn't created by Rare. This one was developed by Bits Studios. Now, this is also an action-adventure, but it's not the same action-adventure as the first one. The game also adds puzzles to the gameplay. So, in each level you have to go around looking for objects that you need in order to complete a puzzle, and then you can move forward in the game. Now, this, well, it's not what you're expecting from a Spider-Man game. The controls are kind of lacking. It's not really too obvious when you're jumping high, when you're trying to when you're trying to shoot out the web for Spider-Man. So yeah, this game I really wouldn't recommend it. However, it does have a cool cover. That's the only good thing I can say about this one. So this is an action-adventure game, but you need to go around each level and you need to collect items that are scattered around in order to solve all the puzzles. Then we come up to the third Spider-Man game. This game is a little bit more difficult to get, that's why it's at around $10 if you want to get this loose cartridge, and it's just the same thing as the previous one. Now, the graphics look a bit cooler, there's a lot more going into this. We're already at 1993 when this was released. This was also developed by Bit Studios and published by LJN. So you're also just beating up guys. Here, the first level is a park. You beat up the people that you see, and you look for objects in order to complete a puzzle. Now, one funny thing about this game is that you move so fast. I mean, the gameplay isn't sped up over here. So, you jump and you shoot webs and it goes really fast, but there's no way of really controlling this. These are just terrible controls. Usually most Game Boy games go a bit slow, but this is just ridiculous how fast the controls are in this game. But then the fourth Spider-Man game, which also came out in 1993, is Spider-Man Xmen. Well, at least we're gonna get some Xmen in this one. Now, this game was developed by Software Creations. The graphics are actually really good. It looks great, but again, the first level is a puzzler game where you use Spider-Man, and it's so tedious. There's so many objects you need to find in one order. There's like practically no enemies, so you're just shooting webs around trying to reach places to get these objects, but there's so many, it's ridiculous for the first level, and you need to finish this level before you can move on to the Xmen levels. Now, I had this game as a kid and I hated it. I couldn't get past this first level, and I guess that's why most people don't really look around for this game. It goes for about $5. It has a great cover. It's pretty cool if you're into Marvel, but I wouldn't recommend it. Now you're probably thinking, well, all these games are released by LJN and they're not good, Ed. Well, yeah, most of them are, but this next one is actually kind of different. It's not an action platformer, but it's one of the few rail shooters on the Game Boy Classic. So this is The Punisher by LJN. This came out in 1991 and was developed by Beam Software. It's, like I said, one of the few rail shooters on the Game Boy. It's probably just a port from the NES game, but it's also a cool NES game. For 1991, the graphics are okay, but it could have been just a little bit better. Like I said, it's probably a port from the NES game, so they didn't really put too much effort into it. However, it's a great game to play, and I mean, Spider-Man is in it, but it doesn't ruin the gameplay this time. So, Spider-Man is featured in this game, but it's still good. And then the last game on my list, there were 6 Marvel games released on the classic Game Boy, is Iron Man XO Manowar. Weird name. Now, this game was actually released on the Saturn and on the PlayStation 1, and then they ported it to the Game Boy. That was kind of a weird move. I mean, they had to downscale all the graphics, downscale the gameplay and all. However, it's actually not too bad of a game. So, in 1996, which is a pretty late release for the Game Boy Classic, Acclaim Entertainment developed and put out Iron Man XO Manowar. Now, this is a action platformer beat-em-up shooter. Definitely downscaled from the PS1 and the Saturn releases, but I do recommend this game. There's some more control things going on over here. You just have your punching move, you have a attack where you spin around, you make like a dancing move. You can also fly, and you can repeatedly shoot out lasers when you're playing as Iron Man or Man OWar. Now, the enemies take about 3 shots until they die. It's kind of a platformer where you need to go up and down in order to complete the levels. It's not great, but the controls are fine. It's just that the game isn't difficult enough to keep you going, or the pacing isn't right on this game. There's too many open spaces where you're doing nothing, so yeah. Not the best game to add to your collection, and it's actually around a $20 game, this one. So yeah, there you have it. If I have to recommend 3 games that you should definitely check out, it would be Captain America and the Avengers, the first Spider-Man game, The Amazing Spider-Man, and of course The Punisher. The Punisher, one of the few rail shooters. Definitely check that one out. I hope you enjoyed this short review video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!